Whatever you can give, man. Christmas is a time for giving. Lots of love, of course. That's the man, A.U. Brown, putting his twist on that one. Pretty nice, eh? Nice little drum beat behind it. Spread a little love. Spread a little love. Spread some love on Christmas Day. Well, guess what, man? We're going to spread some love at this point in time. And that love we're going to be spreading is not only love, but educational love coming from the fire department. You guys stick and stay right where you are. And when we come back, got a little chit chat with my buddy. He's in the building again. And so we're going to get some insight as to how to keep safe around this time. Of course, Thanksgiving is gone. I haven't heard any explosions. So that's a good sign.
This message brought to you by ZIZ and the Fire Department of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I am Fire Station Officer Garfield Hodge of the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services with your fire safety tip. Teach children what smoke alarms sound like and what to do when they hear the alarm. Ensure that all household members know 2 ways to escape from every room of your home and know the family meeting spot outside of your home.
This message was brought to you by ZIZ and the St. Kitts Nevis Fire Department.
Okay. We are here. We're just about 31 minutes down after the hour of 9 o'clock. And I got my buddy in the studio, man. We're going to talk fire again today. Not only fire, man. Rescue and all those good stuff. What's happening, brother?
Quiet.
Nice to see your face in the place again.
Yeah, good to be
We left on a very good note last week with a lot of education.
Yeah.
And so I know you're back now to give us some more.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's on the chat for today?
Yeah, so we are basically winding down on this topic that we have been sharing for the past couple Tuesdays on the firefighter health and safety. And last week's show, I think when we ended the show, I would have asked for persons who pray and believe in prayer to pray for the fire department, or anybody who would have chosen to take that type of basic career path that basically puts you in harm's way every single day. And so we are at a point where we talk about violence at fire scenes. As there are many instances that I could recall having to respond to a scene, and the scene there is evidence of criminal activity. I may have been started as a result of criminal activity. I would have, in my early years, I would have witnessed certain things myself, but I will not go into details on air. So one of the things that we practice at the fire department is that we do not proceed to a scene until the police has declared it safe. As long as we observe if there's any type of indication that this fire may have been associated with some sort of crime, we do not enter, especially if we are not certain as to whether or not the assailant or the perpetrator is still present at the scene. So we contact the police, and we make sure that we do not enter that scene until the police arrives. We have to be very careful. Our safety is always first. We make sure we preach that our safety first. And for anybody else, your safety is first. You have to be safe before you can save anybody else. So once the police is on scene, and again, it depends on the nature of the call as well. Because of course, if it's a huge house fire, and there are casualties or there are persons involved, maybe you have to go inside and do a rescue. Of course, if the police is not already on scene, you can't really wait for police to come because lives are now at risk. So, of course, you have to Be safe, of course. Have someone watching out, looking around all areas while you proceed with your operation, saving lives. And at this point, you have to prioritize. There is there's part of the operation where we have to decide which comes first, whether it's rescue, extinguishment. You have to decide which one comes first. Once there's lives involved, of course, rescue is priority. So we go into rescue mode and we start rescue operation. But as long as, if it's a case where we don't have to begin operation and we realize that this might be a potential crime scene and we're not sure if the assailant or the perpetrator is still on scene, we have to contact the police and we do not enter that scene until the scene is safe. Like I mentioned, I would have experienced that firsthand for myself, and it is a very, very terrifying situation.
I would assume.
I was a very young guy at that time, so I have never seen anything like that in my entire life. So we have to be very careful of that. Also, if we are confronted with a potentially violent situation, we are not to respond violently. For instance, if the perpetrator or the assailant or whoever started the fire is still on scene and they start to act violently, our response is not to act violent as well, because you basically might just escalate the situation and the person might not be acting violent because they want to act violent. It might be somebody who might have a mental issue and they're basically in defense mode because they feel threatened. Not that they want to behave, so they feel like we come to do them something. Now, if we start to act violent, now they're going to start to behave even more violent. So you basically escalate the situation. So at this point, we now get into a mode where we try to diffuse the situation, calm the situation however possible. But we are not to ever respond violently to a potential violent situation. Okay?
Okay, got you. You won't want to be in them kind of situation.
No,
and you'll have the police to deal with that anyhow.
Yeah, that's why we call the police ASAP. The police who has...
When there's a fire,
yes,
and you guys finish doing all you're doing and stuff, most of it would have an investigation afterward.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How long does that take, and what's usually the result if it becomes a fact that there's criminal activities like arson or whatever? How do you guys go about that? Who's responsible to do that investigation?
Well, what we have, when
the
it
rank
comes
and
to
file.
Traditionally, whenever there was an investigation that needed to be done as it relates to fire, police traditionally was the one who dealt with that investigation. Yeah, it sounds...
Yeah, kind of.
But bearing in mind too, at one point we were police officers and we were joined to police and fire. And because at that time we had nobody trained in fire or arson investigation, we had nobody trained at that time, so police really used to take that lead. Now we have a team in place that is comprised of police and fire, because we now have a trained individual trained in fire arson and explosion investigation. So we are now in a better position to have one of our own on that team when investigating these fires. How long it takes, I'm not too sure. It depends on the nature of the incident, of course, and what is involved. They may have to do a series of investigations to build certain scenarios, and then they would have to look at the scenarios and see which scenario best fit. And so it could take a day, it could take days. And because I'm not a part of that team, so I'm not too sure exactly how long it takes. But since we had that team in place, we have had results where we can say, yes, this was arson. In times past, most of the time it would just be ruled out as unknown.
Oh, okay.
You're not able to tell how it was started, of course, because you don't have that
The
knowledge and the
expertise.
expertise in how to test for certain things. But now we have that.
Accelerant and stuff like that.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Okay.
But now we have that. We can have better and more accurate results as to how it was started and what's not. So,
Especially car fires, those are hard ones to really
Yeah.
work on. There's so many different
yeah.
areas that it could be, started from that you can't tell if it's arson and willful done or accidental,
Yes.
So,
But like I mentioned, now with expertise, you know your eyes are now open to certain things. You know what to look for. You know certain what you call burn patterns, certain accelerants
Yeah.
will give you a certain burn pattern, or it might leave a certain color, or that type of stuff. So you know how to look for these things when you're doing your investigation. But like I mentioned before, time we didn't have that.
yeah.
Yes. So after we would have experienced these violent situations and fire scenes, we come to a point where we need to be able to debrief, or what you call a CISD, a critical incident stress debriefing. And what that does, it provides a forum for personnel to discuss anxieties, stress, and emotions triggered by difficult calls. Because sometimes at the scene, it might not affect you right away. But after you get back to the station and you sit down and you really reflect on what just happened, it sometimes take a toll on you, especially if you're not a person who might be, how should I put it? I don't even want to say that, because some of the fittest persons mentally, they break down the same way. But if you're not a person who might be like mentally fit and might be affected by these type of sites or sceneries very easily, there needs to be some sort of avenue, and this just does not have to be firefighting alone. I mean, every organization, I believe, should have an avenue where people could vent.
Yeah. Somebody could talk to.
They just need somebody to talk to. And for fire department, for the type of things that we see on some cars when we go out, I mean, from broken limbs, from limbs that were torn off, from accidents. You have cases where persons are burned to a crisp, and you see that. I mean, that's something that you would only see on TV.
Yeah.
Having
in real life, yeah, it's
experience that thing in real life, it takes a toll on you. And so you need to be able to sit down, maybe in a group setting, or maybe just by yourself,
Okay.
and be able to speak about what you saw. It is very important, debriefing. And even if it's just on a station level where you don't have a trained maybe person, or maybe a trained psychologist, you're just dealing with it as a shift, as a crew. It is important that you sit down and you just to have a little chat about what you just experienced, so that even the person now who is a senior person could look at the way they respond and what they say and make a determination as to whether or not this person might need a bit more help because of how they are now responding. So it is very important that we do that, so that we make sure that our persons are fit and they are mentally ready for the next call, because the next call might be like literally the next call from one thing to the next. So we need to have an avenue where we can vent. And I always encourage people. I mean, sometimes the sad thing is in a lot of institutions, you find that persons, they don't trust anybody. And that's a hard thing, Rascal. And nobody who you work with you could trust to vent. That is not a healthy thing. Because you need somebody to talk to. You must have an avenue where you could vent.
What's the age range of a personnel getting into the fire department? Age has a lot of meaning. So.
On the books, it's 18 to 35.
18, okay.
We have taken in 17 and we have taken over 45. I mean, over 35. The persons who are already like 40. Of course, special considerations. I think there was one instance we took somebody over 35, but he would have been an asset because he came with a truck license.
Oh, okay.
So we could have used him. He was an
as a
addition to
driver.
drive the
Yeah,
truck.
yeah, okay.
So that was a plus for us. And of course, we taken in 17 years, who would soon be 18, already left school. And so we take
That
them
sounds
in
like somebody who'd be around the fire department.
Yeah.
You know? Because that's how a lot of firemen begins. Eh?
Yeah.
Back in, I used to live on Pond Road, so I know. You know, you always had. Remember the fire department had a pool table in there? I don't know if you guys still
They
have
make
that.
the pool table.
That's a long, long time ago.
I
And
will want a pool table. Now.
So there you go. So a lot of people used to go over there.
Yeah, that's true.
And play pool and be a part of the fire department. And some guys would just literally kind of stay. Like you're just there, you know. You
Yeah,
become a part
yeah,
of the canteen,
yeah.
they say.
Yeah.
You know, and they become firemen. Yeah.
And
That's how-
even that too, that used to work as an avenue for just
It's a free up
releasing.
pencil. What you guys do for sport? When you're on call and there's nothing, I mean, what do you guys do?
Well, the thing
You used to
is,
play cricket over
we-
there at
we-
one
we used to-
time.
well, I get piece of that with the old school guys. Most of those guys gone now, so we don't play much cricket. The problem is you have so much vehicles back in the yard. now.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
You
that's
can't
right.
play no
Yeah,
cricket.
yeah,
Literally
yeah,
can't play no
yeah.
cricket. We
Gotta find some recreation, bro.
they find recreation, but these recreation now.
But you still got the space for the pool wood? You
This is
still
the
got
recreation.
the fingers? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That ain't no
The
fun.
space is still there. The pool table is not there. I never met it, so it was gone before I came there. We had a table tennis board. Unfortunately, that was damaged, so we had to get rid of it. Now and again, the guys play a little board
These is
games.
things you guys supposed to be working on sponsors to
Yeah,
get that. I mean,
yeah.
you know, take the
We
fingers
get
them off of the computer
Yeah.
knob and,
Yeah, that's the thing.
and
that's
get some active sports, you know.
because when-
Competitive sports like that is really good.
Yeah,
you
it is
know.
necessary. So we will be working on getting that back. We need to get that back because you had more community.
Yeah, people.
Because everybody gather around to see you play, and the next person will want to play because
Yeah.
they will want to beat.
You
this
will want
guy.
to beat the other person. That's in a
It
good
was-
competitive spirit.
It was,
Yeah.
and the moment you take away those type of things, you're gonna start all kind of things start creeping in because
Yep.
you have too much time. now.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's necessary. It's important, and that too, as I mentioned, could be a way to debrief or to distress, get rid of some of the anxiety, and
That sounds like a good idea.
yeah, it
That
is.
sounds like a good idea. So work on it.
Yeah, I will. I
And
will.
we'll help promote it for you. Get some sponsorship, and I'm sure we can get that organized.
Yes,
It's for the fire guys, man. Come on.
yeah.
Don't get them get idle hands.
Yeah, so it is necessary. We don't at the fire department. We don't have a person who is on staff available daily, who is trained to deal with critical incident stress. However, I think the government has an avenue. I think they have a psychologist on hand who we can go to in the event that we need that type of assistance. So that is available for government workers.
Okay.
Alright, so basically we are at the end of this presentation. I hope that persons would have been able to gather or use some of the information in your own personal life. So basically we're going to just do a little recap of what we would have started off with. So basically every firefighter must have a strong commitment to safety and health. You must start with yourself, and you can't wait until you go to an establishment to work for them to prompt you or force you to be safe or force you to be healthy. That is a personal decision that you need to make for your own well-being. The firefighters must always consider the personal safety and safety of the team and everyone else at the scene. So your safety comes first, personal safety, and then team safety, everyone else at the scene. A successful safety program must have standards and procedures, personnel training and equipment. The absence of any of these, you're going to have chaos. You must have rules. People don't like to follow rules. You must have regulations for guidance. You must have personnel, you must have training, and you must have, of course, equipment, especially in firefighting. You have to stay up to date with the modern advancements in both equipment and techniques. Some techniques you can't use anymore because different materials now that are being constructed, you can't use the same old style of extinguishment. You have to stay abreast with the modern techniques and terminologies. Safety and well-being are directly related to personal health and safety, so everything tie into one. You must stay fit. You must stay fit. That's why we went out of the way. We spent thousands of dollars to put a gym in place. We have some good enough equipment. We're working on getting some more. Of course, they're not cheap.
Of course not. No.
So, and then we don't have. It's not like what we do. We purchase these equipment out of our own money. What we have is a monthly deduction that is made that goes towards sports club and a welfare association, and that money is what we use to purchase equipment and so forth for the gym. Now, because it's a small amount, we can't really buy as we would like. So we have to wait until the funds build up, buy a little thing, and then let that generate some funds, and you add it, and then you know
that fund should be coming from government pocket, man. Man, that's part of firefighting. That's like saying you gotta buy the own hose. No, I'm serious. That's part. There's no fire department I know of or anywhere around the world who don't have a gym. It's a must.
They must.
It's a must.
Because fitness is mandatory, as you mentioned. But if you don't have the
almost
facility,
all the firefighting stations I know of in the States and stuff, there's a gym somewhere in the back or in the front.
Yep. Which is why we made it.
That
to make sure
is,
that we have
I don't think you guys does rally enough. You know, I mean, you need to rally, man. I need a management. Talk to me. I know what is right and what is right. You're supposed to work towards. I don't think you should be taking money out of your pocket to purchase a gym equipment when that's part of your job. That's part of the work.
Well, we'll get to that point eventually.
Well, we might have to stop buying hose and just buy some gym equipment.
Yeah, so we'll get to that point.
Yeah, you need to put that in, put that in writing. That has to go somewhere. Somebody has to,
of course.
say something about that. We're supposed to muscle up the fire officers. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You ever see those firemen in New York City?
Yeah,
After 9/11, when they used to be down on 42nd and stuff, and morning, noon, and night, because that was like the quick response. The quickest response was to be there, Times Square, and so these guys, ladies were taking pictures with them all day long, all night. Like, no, I'm serious, bro.
Yeah, I
guys
know do it,
muscle up.
Yeah. These guys don't play.
Look good, man. Yeah, for real. So we can do that.
We have to get into the minds of our officers first and get them to realize that it is not just for the benefit of the fire services, it's to your own benefit as well. Your own benefit as well.
The firemen even got a calendar.
Huh?
The firemen even have a calendar.
Yeah, well, that is on the books too.
Posing off.
That is on the books too, but we have to get some
you can't do a calendar with no snatchy little bodies, guys. You guys gotta get that gym up and running. So
we have to come up.
Let's make the gym working, Let's get the gym. Let's get the gym. Serious. It's important. I agree fully.
Yes. So we'll work on that. And of course, as I mentioned, there must be some sort of employees assistance program available to provide a fire officer with support or assistance. And that should be something that is implemented in any organization, whether it be a bank or it be a police station. The employees need somewhere where they know they can go to vent, and it doesn't have to be a situation that happened on the job. It could be something personal that they might be going through at home. These type of programs, they are crucially important. And so we would encourage any establishment that does not have an assistance program to get one in place. Once you're a happy worker, that's increased productivity.
Definitely.
Improved efficiency, everything. And so you have to keep your employees happy. You don't want them just going to the few problems. I'm telling you.
You don't want them bringing your house problem to your business.
I'm telling you.
You know?
I'm telling you. Yes, and emergency driving, of course, it requires good reaction and good alertness. We would have spent some time talking about that. Having to be driving a 18-ton, 20-ton fire truck, 1,000 gallons of water, not a lot of equipment with at least 7 men on board. You have to be alert. Your reactions got to be intact. You have to be paying attention to road conditions, road signs, and that type of stuff. So that is critically important. And to anybody who drive vehicles of this size, you have to pay attention. They're not a sports car. They're not going to stop with the same distance a sports car would stop. So you can't drive a truck 90 miles per hour and expect to come to a stop in a 4-foot space. That ain't gonna happen. So you need to pay attention to driving. Accountability systems, track personnels and assignments at the scene. Accountability is important. Make sure who you have, make sure that they are present. Do not allow one officer to go into any situation. We always practice the body system. It also helps in accountability. So at least you can, one goes in, something happened to him inside, somebody else has to go in. If 2 goes in, something happened to one, the other one can help him out. All right? So we must be accountable for one another. Critical incident stress debriefing, of course, is a forum in which firefighting and EMS personnel can discuss anxieties, stress, and emotions. Critically important as well to have a stress debriefing after every call, no matter how minor or major it was. Have a sit down, talk about what happened, see if there was anything you could do better, so that, of course, your performance would always improve for the next call, and you would be in a better state to respond to the other calls. And of course, an unintentional injury can end your firefighting career. That is why we encourage people to be safe. Safe. Firefighting is not a place to play around. One mistake, one injury, and you have to be medically boarded.
Yep.
It's serious business. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. And I mentioned, I hope that some of the information that was shared over the past couple of Tuesdays would be information that you, the general public, the listeners, wherever, whether it is social media or otherwise, could use for your own personal benefit. Do not take this information for granted. I was always told that it's better to have it or better to know it and not need it than to need it and not have it, or you don't even know it. So use the information for your own safety, keep your family safe, your business safe as well.
All right. Well, there we had it. It was 3 weeks, 4 weeks of presentation. It's been a while, right?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Well, we've gotten some good education over the weeks, and hope you folks out there have been listening. And Sia was not only speaking to the public, but you're also speaking to your firefighting counterparts
Yes.
as to what they're supposed to be doing, and that's skylarking. And as you say, better to be safe than sorry.
Of course.
Right? All right. Okay, we got 1 more minute before we get into the 10 o'clock time. You didn't take any calls today, but, we're good. We're good. Nice to have you as usual. And I do hope you guys really get certain things done and stop dipping in your own pocket to supply the needs of the firemen. That is for home. Your salary is to go home, not to be staying on the job, right? And I hope the powers that be are listening, or somebody tells somebody that the fire department needs a pool table for recreation and they need some equipment in the new gym that they just put together. All they got is 4 walls right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and some old lead weights that they make home in a bucket. So guys, we gotta get this thing acting. We gotta get this thing together. These guys want some treadmills and some pulleys, dumbbells, barbells, pulleys, Smith machines, things like that. Okay, guys, we need our firemen to be strong, physically fit, and ready to go with good bodies. I sound good?
Yeah, man.
I tell you, put me in the forefront, you know. I know how to get this thing right, you know. But everything is facts and truths. Okay, guys, so hey, thanks for coming in, Williams. Nice. I'm looking forward.
Just before you go, Rascal, the event that we spoke about, we had it on Saturday.
Okay, yeah.
It came off really well. The public, they came out, especially the Canary community. They really showed up. So we want to express our appreciation for all those who would have contributed and all those who came out and we are still they spend. I was kind of frightened because we were supposed to start at 3 o'clock and when I see 5 o'clock rolling,
everybody like to come late.
Yeah, but when they came, they came out and they supported.
Yeah, that's
non-stop.
good. That's
so
good.
We
That's
wanna,
good.
Thank everybody.
But don't just do one, do some more.
Well, that's just the
Move
beginning.
it around the island. And remember, the lady gave you a really good idea. I think it's a good idea about doing that.
Yes.
And I think that could help,
Yeah, but this is just the beginning.
facilitate the gym, you know what I mean? So this week we're going out to get 2 dumbbells.
Yeah.
You know what I
I would
mean?
like to especially thank Mr. Delwayne Delaney, who was in the forefront in rallying up the Canary community.
Okay.
He really contributed to this event, so I want to thank him publicly. And of course, the Welfare Association of the Fire Department, who was the host.
Okay.
These guys really went out of the way. They pushed themselves. They worked hard to get this event going, and it was a success. So I just wanted to thank everybody.
Good. That's good.
And as usual, be fire safe, be COVID safe. You have a blessed day.
All right. I hear you loud and clear, buddy. You have a good day. And I might see you next week. And well, I'm not going to be here next week. GQ will be back by then. Yeah, he comes back out on Monday, so I can get my morning sleep, yeah. My beauty nap. Definitely. Okay, buddy. So thanks for coming in, man. And you have a wonderful day. All right.